Welcome or welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we are going to be doing a little crochet with me, and today we are going to be making a scrap yarn granny square tote bag. I saw this bag design on Pinterest and I was like, this is so pretty. I love the shape of the bag and I immediately knew that I had to make it. So I already started making some of the granny squares, and before I show you what they look like, I just want to talk to you guys about the colors that I chose and the little problem that I ran into. So here are the colors. I love them. I'm obsessed with them. I really think they just give like earthy fairy type vibes, and I love that aesthetic with all the greens and the browns and the different shades of everything. So it's really pretty. So I'm happy with the color combination. However, I ran out of this really pretty green color. I love this shade so much. It's like an olive green mixed with a bit of brown, and I also ran out of this color as well, and I was really upset. So I had to look in my yarn collection and see what color I had that's similar to this, and I didn't really have that many. I was deciding between these two shades and I was like, which one looks better? Because on camera they look very different, so with my eyes I was just trying to see what looked good. So in the end I decided to go with this shade. Comment down below if it is a mistake. I don't know, I think that's the closest that I could have, especially since I did not want to go out and buy yarn. And one issue that I have is that I don't really know where I get most of my yarn from. Like, I could have got it in Nottingham, I could have got it in Zimbabwe, I could have got it at this random craft shop near me, but I need to at least like note down where I get certain yarn from so I could buy it again at a later date, or if I really need that color. This is the color that I had to replace here. As you can see, it's just so perfect with the other colors and I just love it so much, but unfortunately it is finished. Okay, so after a little bit of color matching, I started crocheting some more granny squares. So I need a total of 10 granny squares and I began crocheting the rest. However, I ran into a little bit of an issue. I ran out of this color of yarn and I just knew I could not continue these squares without it. So I had a total of 8 granny squares before I ran out of this color. So I was just thinking, okay, what color can I use? Because I need 2 more. But then I was thinking to myself, maybe I could get away with making the bag with just 8 squares. So I layered everything out on my carpet and then I just began positioning all of them and I was like, okay, this is looking good. I could make a bag with this. And then when it came to folding the bag over, I'm missing the sides. So you can't really have a bag with the sides missing. So I was like, okay, we're gonna have to crochet two more. But I really didn't want to because I couldn't have that color combination. So instead of starting this project all over again or making a different bag with these granny squares, I was like, okay, let's just get a bit creative and work with what we have. So I decided to make two extra squares with this dark green color, and I love this color a lot. So I really like it. So I just crocheted two plain ones because I couldn't add the different colors into it without it looking a bit bad. So after that, I relaid out all my squares and then I added my green ones to the side. It really doesn't look too bad with the two plain granny squares on the side, so I decided to continue. So I had to sew every single square together. This was definitely a whole process. It took me a really long time, and I wanted to make sure that I sew my squares together in a way that it's seamless, because I do not want to see seams in this bag at all. I wanted to give off the look that is all one piece, and I don't really have that much experience sewing granny squares together like this, because all the projects that I've just done like, a normal stitch and you can kind of see the seams. So I decided to look for a tutorial on YouTube and sew everything together in this way, following the tutorial. It was a very easy tutorial to follow, so I will link the video in the description box below so you guys can also learn from that video. So after I sewed all of the squares flat, I now had to fold it up and then sew it together. And this process was actually really fine. It was really relaxing. I actually really enjoyed sewing everything together once I got the hang of it. And I will always be using this method. I love this method for sewing together granny squares. It's so quick to do as well. But since I was learning, it did take me a while, especially when I was doing the first couple squares. And honestly, it was a little bit confusing as I was sewing them together because all the squares are kind of at an angle. They're in diamond, like a diamond formation kind of, so it's not really a square. So sewing them together, you have to adjust the angle and everything. But I just went with it, to be honest. I just kept referring back to the bag that I wanted to make initially and just made up the shape as I went along. After sewing everything together, I now needed to crochet the straps in. So for the straps, I just chained 60, and then I decided to do everything all at once. So I connected the top of the strap to the top of the granny square on the front of the bag, and then I chained 60, and then I slip stitched onto the top of the other granny square on the bag, if that makes sense. I'll show you guys when it's complete, so it'll make a lot more sense. And then I crocheted everything together, so I just kept going from the top to the bottom, from the top to the bottom, and I decided to use half double crochets as well. I felt like that was the perfect stitch, mainly because it works up really fast. And I wanted to make these straps in this dark green color that I used for the 2 single plain granny squares on the side of my bag. However, I didn't have enough to do the straps, so I had to go with this other color, which was fine, but I still wish that I had enough dark green because it would look 100 times better. So I just kept building up the straps and the border on the front and the back, and it was coming together really nicely. I feel like the more I crochet the straps, the more I realized that, maybe it's not too bad in this color. After I did the straps, finally the bag was complete. I do still have a couple more things to do, so it's not 100% complete, but I just have to weave in all of the loose ends and then add in some bag lining because I feel like I'd actually wear this bag in public. I think it came out really pretty, and one thing about me is that I don't really wear my crochet things outside in public unless I'm taking a photo outside, and then I just take it off and then throw it in my room and never see it again. But I want to start wearing more of my pieces, and I'm really happy with how this bag turned out. I feel like it's just the colors of a tree almost, like when you look outside your window and you just see all these plants, and I think that this bag really captivated the earthy vibe that I wanted in the beginning. Alright guys, that is the end of today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and as always, I will see you in the next one.